Hey, today on the show we have Brandiss, drummer, vice president of NCM. Just all of it.
This is Amplify, a retail automotive podcast brought to you by Reuters Events and ASOTU. It's time to make the most innovative voices in retail automotive louder.
Coming in hot.
I told you there was intro music. You
I
wanted
like it.
You wanted to pick your own walk-on music.
I did. I wanted to make sure the vibe was right, but that was good.
I told
appreciate
you,
it.
once you hear it, I said you'll feel like you have to deliver.
That's right.
Right. I got you. Brandiss, thanks so much for joining us today.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's talk about NCM,
Let's do it.
right? Because you said you're vice president of everything, every place, everywhere. Yeah, you kind of said that. Everything. It was
That was
something.
off the record before. we started.
No, what's on the record now? There's no off the record around here. So let's talk about NCM. Everybody knows NADA and what they do. Not as many people understand NCM's reach is pretty broad.
That's
Tell
right.
us about it.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know that NCM actually founded the 20 group concept.
Got him.
Bomb drop.
So let's start there.
Thanks for joining us today.
Mic
There
drop.
it is.
Okay.
Put that clip on social. Run it.
However, that's just one of the things that we do. So we also have training, we have consulting, we have our software, and then we also work directly with OEMs. So we actually acquired a business management solutions company, which is a product where we take in dealer data on behalf of the OEM, like the financial statements that dealers submit every month. And so we've got a lot of big partnerships in that way as well.
Couple things.
Couple few things.
Yeah.
I love it. I love
Slight
it.
work.
So where would you say right now is kind of like the leading focus of all of that? I know that everything's always a focus, but what's the leading focus that's driving things that needs the most focus so that the dealer, the OEM, the consumer can get the best of all of us?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's hard to choose your favorite child, but I will say one of the areas that we're really leaning into is training. I mean, right now with everything that's happening in the market, but also the unknown and what's to come, we really want to not only get people trained on the back to basics that everybody's talking about, but we also want to train them on a thinking mindset, because knowing what worked before is not necessarily what's going to get us moving forward. And so what we really want to cultivate is how do we get people to be thinkers,
How to think.
right?
Yes.
How do you think? And
Critically
so-
think
Yes,
in the moment.
That's right.
Because everything's shifting all the time.
That's exactly right. So we've really leaned into what we call these innovation labs, where we're having people come together. We're giving them a problem that's in the industry right now that doesn't have a silver bullet, and we're teaching them how to critically think together and collaborate to come up with a solution.
All right,
that's
give us a
best.
problem. What's one of the problems? Let's
Oh my
go.
gosh.
Let's
She's
workshop
like,
it
okay.
right here. Here we
Oh
go.
my
Give us a
gosh.
problem. Go.
Okay.
We're ready.
I mean, we can do an easy one, which is one that's kind of
I have a feeling it's not going to be easy. But
No.
go ahead.
well, there's no silver bullet to it, but it's something that everybody talks about all the time, which is overnight servicing, as an example.
Yep.
So everybody's talking about it. Everybody is saying, how do we do it? What's the model? What's worked? What hasn't? A lot of people in 20 groups are best practice sharing, where they're saying, here's what I did, here's what I did. But instead of just sharing solutions, we want to critically think together and come up with a brand new way to do it.
What does that process look like? So overnight servicing, right?
Yeah.
You put the problem on the table. You got the smart people around the table, and
Yeah.
you're like, let's workshop this.
Yep.
What's
Yep.
the next thing happens?
So actually, one of the first things that we do is we give a problem that's not in automotive.
I
And
love it.
that's a critical part of innovative thinking.
Yeah, because you're already like as soon as you make it automotive, right? Everyone comes with the box.
That's right.
And puts the box on the table. Like, no box first.
That's right.
Maybe we don't need a box.
Yeah. Yep. So we want to create an entire paradigm shift. And it starts with, we work on something that it's not cheesy, it's just some random thing that's in a different business sector.
I really want to know what that problem is too.
Right. That problem sounds exciting
Yeah.
to me. I'm like,
I'm
that's
giving
the
my
best
whole
one.
workshop away.
Yeah, okay.
All
okay.
right? You got to pay to
Okay.
subscribe. So
Like, smash that subscribe button.
That's
Subscribers
right.
only,
That's
yo.
right. Subscribe. Anyways, so we start there, and then what we do is we actually give them. So there are ways to think innovatively. There are concepts that tell you how to do that, because most people don't just wake up and think outside of the box, right? So we actually have
Most
techniques.
people aren't us.
That's true.
Well,
We actually have techniques.
We only think outside the box, which is what gets us in problems. All right,
Well, we
so
need
you got
people like
into
you. Yeah. So we have techniques that say, okay, here's how you might approach a problem, or methods. So as an example, our scamper method. what can you substitute out? What can you combine? So each of the letters are things that you think the problem through and say, okay, what would I take out of what we have today and substitute to make it better, as an example.
I love it. Overnight servicing, that's a major problem, but it's necessary because we have so many service departments that are pushed out 3, 4, 5 weeks. But the problem actually isn't the process or anything like that. It's still back to people.
Yeah, the techs.
So we need to solve the
staff it.
technician shortage issue,
Yep,
the technician
that's been
training
one.
issue,
That's
all
right.
of that actually is the precursor to figuring out how and what technologies, personnel, scheduling, flipping cars, all of that type of stuff to go first, without a doubt. And I'm sure with training comes solving the people solution. How are people that you're working with, how are dealers that you're working with continuing to work on solving people shortage issues in our industry?
Yeah, so that's been a huge topic, as you can imagine. Technicians is always one that comes up, but I think we need to look at it larger as what is our talent acquisition and talent retention strategy that we're going to employ in automotive. So one of the things that we've been doing along this front is really getting in our 20 groups, instead of focusing so much on kind of this operational data and, how many ROs did we write and this, okay, that's
it's an
great.
easy place to go, though.
It's an easy place to go, and we believe in the data, but at the end of the day, the people driving the numbers are people, period. Like you guys.
Come on now, put it up.
She got the bracelet.
Love people more than you
Get
love
it.
cars.
Get us.
And so we really want to focus on, again, how do we attract talent in automotive? How do we get people interested in this industry that really hasn't necessarily had a good brand? As people think about being I'm going to be a car salesman or this. What's the brand that people have, and how do we overcome that? And then once we've overcome that, how do you keep them?
Yeah.
So those are some of the things we're talking about in our 20 groups now, and we really want to get some data behind the people management side of it. How do we tie that to making money and profit and show that there is a connection that we all know exists?
What did you do before you did this position? I'm real curious now.
Everyone always seems to ask me that. I wonder why they ask me that. So I actually have worked a bunch of different positions at NCM, and then before this, I sold mutual funds and annuities for a financial company called Fintegra.
An obvious,
Obviously.
Linear
Over.
progression, of course,
I know,
right?
I know. It just, once I say it, it makes sense, right?
Yeah. So sticking with the people side, right? Love people more than you love cars. You're talking about solving the people challenge based on some intelligent data.
That's right.
Some thoughtful problem solving. Why do you think this is the time that we have the opportunity to do that more than we did in the past? Like, why is this moment the one where everyone's focusing on it? Now, I know there's like a quantifiable need. Well, there's just fewer, it seems. But why do you think we're positioned to make a dent right now?
Well, I think a lot of the problems that we're trying to solve in automotive right now, many of the other retail industries have done a good job of either already solving or are further down the path than we are. So,
Like which ones?
oh gosh, as an example, think about all the things that we're comparing automotive to that I hear on the stage, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Nordstrom, whether it's, thinking about companies who have already mastered, if you will, or a lot further down the path
Right.
of customer experience, of e-commerce, of digital retailing. I think there's a lot to learn from other retail industries, and also talent that we can attract from other retail industries.
That's
and,
for sure.
Yeah, and ways to look at the experience. So right now, I would just say there's a keen interest in looking at the way that we're doing things from a consumer experience standpoint. You've got expertise. It would make sense at this time, and it's a greater opportunity to look at those things.
There you go.
I mean-
It's a pivotal moment. I mean, we're saying this all the time. The pop culture narrative and the automotive narrative are like colliding,
Aligned.
and that happens not just on the interest on cars, but also on our ability to attract a bunch of people from outside of auto that have never thought about auto. I mean, just the tech opportunities alone. This is interesting. I had someone reach out to me on LinkedIn that is in the tech sector, in the healthcare tech sector. And they just recognized that I was dealing with tech a lot, and I love data and tech in the auto industry. And they were like, hey, I literally not a sales pitch. I don't want to bring anything. I just want to know, like, is the opportunity good to come into auto for tech, right? That was like a full cold outreach, right? So it's the rest of the world is looking at auto going, hold
There's
on,
something
just a
going
second.
on over
Yeah,
there?
There's something going on over
Yeah.
there. So we have this pivotal moment to like connect the people that are somewhat interested in what we're doing and plug them in and learn from the places where they've already been. So I love that
100%.
pivotal moment that it's not just culture, but culture is also attracting talent. And so as long as we do a good job branding ourselves as an industry, then we can attract that top talent.
100%.
Brandiss, you get the final word. What's your encouragement to dealers who might be kind of like circling the runway, thinking of like engaging in some kind of new training or 20 group? What are you going to say to them?
Just do it. Why haven't you done it already? I mean, in this day and age, if you're not investing in your people, if you're not investing in your own personal growth, and with all the change we have in the market and the industry right now,
What are you even doing?
What are you doing? Why are you here?
Well, thank you so much for giving us some time. Excited to see where it goes and what comes of all the people talk and the people movement. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Amplify podcast, brought to you by Reuters Events and ASOTU. For more engaging episodes like this, subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform. You can learn more about our hosts, Paul J. Daly and Cal Mountseer, by visiting ASOTU.com.